Josh Ryan, formerly working at the Lakeland College Gymnasium and a member of the Jim Pattison broadcast group. I'm joined by David Petrozello from the Prairie Pilots, I guess, Prairie Bible College. You still go by PBC these days?
Yeah, it's Prairie College now.
All right.
Yeah.
Prairie College directly, the Prairie Pilots, also formerly from the St. Mary's Lightning.
Yes, and a few other places. The running joke on me is there are fewer places where I haven't coached or worked than where I have.
And so you are obviously familiar with a number of the players and coaches here in the second semifinal on this Friday evening at the 2020 Men's Basketball Conference Championship, which is brought to you by Cargill. You have two huge underdogs that made it through the first round. It's the Ambrose Lions, their second tournament appearance, and they are playing for a chance to go to the gold medal game, along with the NAIT Ooks, who came in as the fourth seed and handed the Lethbridge Kodiaks their second sanctioned loss of the season. The only other team to beat them is the St. Trojans, who will play for the title. The winner of these two teams will get underway. And two teams with pretty contrasting styles and makeup in terms of roster, but it should be a fun matchup.
Should be a very good matchup. NAIT brings something really particular to the table in their ability to shoot the ball from distance. If they get into a rhythm from three, I've seen a game live, in fact, in Edmonton at Concordia, where for much of the game into the second half, they were shooting in the high 60s from three, and ended up pulling that game out on the road in a tough place to play at Concordia against a good team. And last night, obviously, they shot the ball really well, and they've got some dynamic talent. And Ambrose, being, as you say, their second playoff experience, and already they've established themselves as a program that is to be reckoned with in the South, and they're not just here for the experience. They're playing to win, and whoever comes out of this game will have to take it away from the other team.
And Ambrose, you saw they did such a nice job against a hostile environment yesterday. Do you think they'll have to do a similar job of kind of firing themselves up and getting ready to play?
You know what? There's nothing like having a hostile crowd to get you on your toes. But that being said, Neil, Coach Nystrom, and his staff do a good job with their team. I'd expect them to come out ready to play. Like, this is the playoffs. If you need an external crowd to get you riled up, you shouldn't really be here. So I'm sure they'll be ready to play.
And we're about to get underway here at Augustana. Pretty good capacity crowd. Again, Slav Kornick, first year coach with the Ooks, has done a nice job with this team, getting them into the playoffs pretty close to the end of the season. They had a big home win against the Lakeland Rustlers. And a big part of that reason they were able to make it was the addition of number 11, Marcus Taylor Knighton, who wins the opening jump against C.K. Phillip. And we're underway between the Ooks and the Lions for the last spot available to play for gold. That pass from Cluson way off the mark, and that'll set the Lions into transition. They were great at that part of the game against the Vikings last night. Gray pulls up short on the three-point attempt, and Sean Michael Clancy will go to work. He was huge, especially in the second half for the Ooks. Deep three from number 23. First basket goes to Nate.
I mean, that's a shot. A lot of people would look at that shot and say that's not a good shot, but that is one that Clancy can make with regularity. He's got a really good shot off the dribble.
Isaac Gray now driving, and he'll draw contact.
Yeah. Much better possession here on the part of Ambrose. The ball got worked around the perimeter. They changed sides of the court, made Nate have to play some defense. It was a much better possession, resulted in two shots.
Again, Isaac Gray off to the line. A third year from Calgary, St. Francis grad. And you see a solid contingent once again of Ambrose fans. A few more this time, obviously, able to make the trip up from Calgary. Packed, basically capacity crowd here at the Augustana Gymnasium, thanks in part to some of the teams that are attending, but pretty good attendance as well. Ball's outside for the Ooks. Broderick for Jamal Hines, and that's going to be another Ooks turnover. Foul drawn on Taylor Knighton. Taylor Knighton joining the team in the second half of the season and has really stabilized their post game. They actually tend to put him down low more than they do their actual 5, Hugo Klusen.
It'll be interesting to see how much Ambrose continues to try and muddy the waters a little bit with some different defensive coverages. A little bit of half-court press, a little bit of half-court zone, a little bit of full court, three-quarter court. Changing things up, changing the coverages to try and take NAIT out of their rhythm.
Cordwell's jumper is good, so it's a 3-3 game, and that's going to be last touch Lions. 8:34 to go in the first quarter. Ooks not going very deep in their bench, certainly didn't go deep in their quarterfinal matchup. The Lions do have a few guards they like to throw in, as Clancy has a contested 3 that's wide, and Klusen is Johnny on the spot for 2 points. C.K. Phillip, he had a number of pretty baskets last night. Off the mark on that jumper. Francisco, who's into the, Braden Daniel, the attempt there with his left hand.
An interesting matchup defensively here. What Ambrose has done, they've put C.K. on Clancy, having a bit more length on the backcourt player. Down on the other end, though, NAIT is guarding C.K. with Knighton, and so it's a bit more of a traditional matchup.
Offensive foul on Sylvan Lombo. And that's going to give the Ooks the ball on the sideline.
I think that was a good call. That was the right call. He left his plane, leaned into the defender with an elbow.
Daryl Broderick will hand it off for Klusen. And Taylor Knighton will pull up for 2, in and out. Rebounded by Clancy, and it's a 2-possession game in favor of the Ooks.
I'd expect an adjustment here. If Knighton can be a bit more aggressive to get towards the basket with the basketball against Daniel, a little bit shorter but very strong and thick, as you can see.
Yeah, showing that strength right there with the left-handed finish. It's a 2-point conversion.
Clancy is what we, in coaching vernacular, what we tend to call, he's a load out there. He's just a heavy, strong guy, very active.
And Klusen gets the roll to go. He had a tough start yesterday, but did have 7 big points in the second half, and that helped them en route to that victory over the Kodiaks.
Ambrose needs a good shot here.
Isaac Gray moonwalking towards the baseline, and he gets that to fall.
I'm actually not sure I've ever seen a shot quite like that.
Me either, sir. Clancy responds quickly off glass for 2 more points of his own. Cordwell thinking about shooting. He'll drive. And doesn't make it off glass. Clancy jumps so well for a guy his size and is able to get the rebound. Klusen in rhythm. Knocks down the triple, and it's an early 14-7 lead, NAIT. And traveling call, that'll be a turnover on the Lions. And we got multiple substitutions, so Francisco, Lyndon Jackson, and Isaac Amsing all entering the game. Jackson led the Lions in scoring. He's been coming off the bench this tournament, playing major minutes, and was huge last night against the Vikings. 6:15 still to play in the quarter. And like last night, NAIT had a strong start to the first quarter. They've come out firing on basically all cylinders here.
Yes, they're finding their rhythm. That shot by Klusen in transition, that's their game. If they can get up and down the court, create good open threes, that's where they thrive. Ambrose responding with some substitutions. Very good move by the coaching staff there to try and change the rhythm on the court, change the personnel. We're probably only a couple, maybe a basket or at the most 2, I would say, away from a possible timeout coming from Ambrose as well.
Braden Daniel called for that foul.
It's a long game, and so you don't want to rush things, but timeouts you can't take them with you. So you want to make sure that you're using them at the right time, but there's no sense holding on to them just for the sake of holding on to them.
Sean Michael Clancy guarded closely by Francisco. Broderick will take another 3 off the mark. Hines running in a little too inside for that attempt at the rebound. And they're going to call an offensive foul on Gray. Looks like a bit of a push-off with his left hand.
It's the second time the same official calls the offhand push-off on dribble penetration. Again, I think that was the right call.
5:18 and counting here in the first quarter as Hines will hand off for Broderick.
Ambrose has switched up their defensive coverages again.
Deep 3, Clancy off the mark, and Hines can't out-battle Gray for the rebound. Daniel will carry forward. A little bit of room. Open look for Gray. In and out, and Clancy comes away with the rebound. And that's stopped at the rim by Amsing. Jackson stopped by Klusen. Amsing the follow-up, doing it on both ends of the floor.
Just a simple hustle basketball play. Follow the action. Always rebound a transition layup shooter. Ambrose hasn't really found an offensive rhythm here, so they need as many of those hustle points and garbage, quote-unquote, garbage basketball points as much as possible.
Make that back-to-back baskets for Amsing, so getting a hustle basket earlier, then a little pull-up jumper down by the baseline. Back to a one-possession game as Clancy's guarded by Jackson. Inside look for Taylor Knighton, and I believe Gray is called for the foul. Isaac Gray, he was pretty feisty yesterday against the Vikings as well, and he's showing that feistiness early. So that's going to be Nate ball. I believe the foul was on Gray. .12 seconds on the shot clock. Klusen pulls up and knocks down the triple. 17-11 with less than 4 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Gray for Jackson. He'll pull up and miss.
Good hustle by the big fella.
And then Clancy misses on that pass attempt, so a turnover. A couple of Ambrose fans bringing noisemakers, always good to see, especially when a few years ago you couldn't bring those into the gym. I think we've relaxed the rule a little bit on that.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so, I think. I remember after the South African World Cup, the vuvuzelas, those were noisy and a little bit annoying.
Yeah, I'll admit those actually did get annoying because they never really relented.
There he is again.
Amsing 6 points here in the first quarter off the bench for the Lions, doing a nice job using his size well.
Good example of bringing in a grit player off the bench, just contributing to the game, hustle plays, stabilizing his team.
He happens to hail from my hometown of Cochrane, Alberta, previously suited up for St. Mary's.
Well, after my time.
3 minutes to go here in the quarter.
Excellent coffee in Cochrane, I have to say.
Coffee and ice cream are the two things I think we're most known for as a small town, which really should be a small city at this point. That shot from Hausch off the mark. And Hines will go with his left hand, doesn't drop. Jackson again trying to get the Lions going in transition. And that's Phillip for 2 points.
So that is a much better take in transition than what they've been attempting up to this point. On their prior attempts, it was a lot of trying to avoid the defender. This time, CK just attacked him in transition, was aggressive on the front foot, made a whole difference.
Back in transition now, Jackson for Cordwell. Jackson, a fourth year from Gary, Indiana. He's going to pull up for a long two. And it'll be rebounded by Jamal Hines. Clancy stripped. And Francisco comes away with the ball. Now a chance for the Lions to either tie or take the lead. Amsing, count it, and the foul, and Slav Kornick's going to call timeout, not liking his coverage on defense or perhaps the movement on the offensive side of things. Substitutions coming in, but first a timeout, and we'll be right back on ACAC TV. Momentum shifting to the Lions. Back here at the Augustana Gymnasium as Isaac Amsing takes a free throw to try to complete the three-point play. He has done a nice job in this quarter, now has 9 points off the bench for the Lions, and they've taken their first lead since the early goings of the game.
He's been the difference maker for them. He came in and completely changed the rhythm of the game.
Hines back for Clancy. That's a long two, and he knocks it down. With that much room, he's basically going to have his way on the offensive end.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get the defender to leave his feet like that, you can step right into a rhythm jumper, and for him, that's a really high percentage shot.
Tough fadeaway lands in the hand of Isaac Amsing. Again, 11 points off the bench for the fourth year from Cochrane. Cluson now guarded closely, and Hines will pull up for three. Chance for the Lions to now add to their lead with 1 minute remaining in the first quarter. Lombo. And that's going to be taken away. Clancy moving forward. And that's going to be and one for Marcus Taylor Knighton.
Well, NAIT's been struggling a little bit to find their rhythm against the zone. And one of the oldest adages in the book is to try and beat the zone down court before it gets the chance to set itself up. And that's exactly what they were able to do off of the turnover.
Hines exits the game, and in for him is number 22, Zach Morgan. Morgan, a second-year forward from Red Deer, Alberta, Hunting Hills native. Or Hunting Hills graduate, I should say. NAIT back in front by 1 point. Lots of talk from both coaching staffs. Lombo with Hausch on him, loses the handle. As the shot clock starts to wind down, Francisco driving past Morgan and scores. What a move from Francisco to get to the rim. A fifth year from Calgary and gets his team back up by one here in this second semifinal on Friday. Nice move and nice finish from Clancy at the buzzer, and just like that, the Ooks regain the lead. We had plenty of lead changes last night, and that continues here on Friday.
Very good quarter. You know, I was really pleased to see how both teams found their groove a little bit. At first, NAIT came out and they were really playing with a lot of energy, and Ambrose wasn't quite sure of itself offensively. And I really can't say enough about the big man coming in and really changing the the tone of the quarter, putting Ambrose in a spot where they were making the hustle plays, where they were getting the loose balls, and it changes. It changed everything for them in that quarter. It'll be interesting to see what NAIT does against Ambrose's zone. And if they make some adjustments, I think there are some more gaps that they could look to exploit a little bit. And obviously, they're going to want to crank the pressure up to try and create more turnover opportunities and give them the chance to get out in transition and play their game as well, where they can hunt for threes or get themselves to the rim. Really well played first half. And I also want to just commend Neil, Coach Nystrom at Ambrose for that decision that he made to insert the substitutions and write it out. That's an example of a coach knowing his team, having a feel for his group. And from the outside, you could say, man, you guys are really kind of teetering on the edge. You got to think about taking a pause here. But, it paid off for him big time, and he comes into the second quarter with his timeouts intact for the remainder of the half.
Just a few seconds left on our break, and then we'll be back into the second quarter. Just a few stats as well to shout out here. A lot of balanced scoring in terms of multiple players getting opportunities on the Lions side, though Isaac Ansing, a standout, the only double-digit player, 11 points, 5 for 5 from the field. On the NAIT side of things, only 3 players have scored. 2 points for Taylor Knighton, 11 for Sean Michael Clancy, Hugo Klusen with 10 as well. So not a lot of depth on the NAIT side, but they hold a 1-point lead as we begin the second quarter. Fifth-year Matt Francisco has the ball. And now Riley Cordwell trying to go to work against Klusen. Lombo for Daniel, who finds Francisco. Shot clock starting to wind down here.
Yeah, really good gap coverage by Clancy right there.
Lombo's shot attempt is off the mark.
Yeah.
And shot clock violation. Good start defensively for the Ooks.
You can just see how smart of a player Clancy is. A few possessions ago, Francisco went left, got right to the basket. This time, Clancy was in the strong corner. He just gapped that spot. No room for him to get dribble penetration, and it forced a shot clock violation or a turnover bad shot. Really smart defensive play.
Almost a turnover, but Clancy coming to the rim. He'll hand it off for Knighton. Lays it in for 2 points. Lombo trying to get the Lions running, and Phillip wide open. Cordwell, that's off the mark.
Good shot.
Clancy back with the ball on the other side of the floor. And inside look for Morgan, though 2 guards there to play help defense. 3 guys on him. Now a wide open look for Hausch. That's good. 28-22 for the Ooks.
Really good possession offensively for NAIT. Ball gets posted up. He's such a load down there that some type of additional attention is needed defensively. Second side away, open threes. Very consistent shot that's available for them.
Much needed basket there for Ambrose to get points on the board in this quarter. Clancy guarded by Cordwell. He's going to pull up. A little strong on that 3-point attempt. And Cordwell will try to take it all the way, going right to the rim, and it'll roll in for 2.
Again, interesting to watch how Ambrose is alternating their coverages. They just switched the on-ball screen with Clancy. The variety with which they're guarding NAIT's actions is interesting, and I just wonder at what point are they going to identify one that they want to stick with rather than continue to, unless the plan is to keep them guessing the whole game.
Clancy at the free throw line just misses. Sean Michael Clancy having an awesome tournament for the Ooks. Led the league in scoring this season. And a substitution, Jamal Hines back into the game. Again, the Ooks not going very deep into their bench, and until Hausch's 3, not a lot of offense throughout the lineup. More subs coming in on the Lions side of things, including Amsing, but such an awesome first quarter. Francisco off the mark on the three. That'll end up in the hands of Sheldon Hausch. And Clancy with Daniel on him. Lots of help from Phillip. Zach Morgan trying to get inside to Knighton, and they're going to call Francisco for the foul, it looks like.
Yeah, he was in a really tough position there, Francisco, being, they switched the side ball screen, and he got ducked right down into the block by the bigger player, and he was grabbing him pretty hard there, so pretty obvious call.
Hausch for three, and he draws contact on Lombo. So that'll be a free trip to the line. 3 attempts coming up from the charity stripe. That first attempt doesn't drop from Hausch. Second attempt goes. 7:23 to go in the half. It's a 4-point game. And now an opportunity for the Lions. Cordwell for Lombo. And Cordwell has the ball again. Now he'll pull up with a hand in his face. Doesn't matter. He knocks it down, and it's a 2-point game. Wide open look for Zach Morgan. He's off the mark, and that's another chance for Ambrose to tie the game.
Here they come in transition. Oh.
That's going to be a turnover. Cluson is coming back in for Morgan, most likely. Nope. Looks like Taylor Knighton will take a break. And probably not a bad thing that they're able to get some minutes out of Morgan here in order to give guys like Cluson and Knighton a break. Hausch pulling up again, short. Well short, and now the Lions doing what they do best, running the floor. Lombo gets it to fall.
Really good, really good. Ambrose is really an explosive team if they can get out in transition, and they need stops in order to do that. There's Morgan. Some more three-quarter pressure.
That's all right, Morgan, and a nice effort there, and now the ball ends up in the Lions' hands.
So again, they went back into a three-quarter court pressure situation, switching it up. One of the challenges when you go into a semifinal contest is sometimes if you're the team that has less experience of maybe being in that environment, you might tend to be more conservative. You might tend to be a little bit more anxious about trying things or being aggressive. And Ambrose, obviously, tonight they've just come out and they're laying it all on the floor. They're throwing everything at the wall, and it's working for them so far.
The score is now 32-31 for the Lions. And Clancy pulls up for a long two and knocks it down, unless he had his feet behind the line there.
Looked like they signaled it too.
So now it's 33-32 as Cordwell pulls up and misses. Broderick back into the game for the Ooks. And Zach Morgan's still there.
I'm pretty sure that Ambrose will be willing to live with Clancy taking a game full of long dribble pull-up twos.
A big triple from Broderick. It's now a 2-possession game. Daniel Lombo, interesting release. The hit lands for another three. Cluson driving, and he's going to draw contact. A little bit of trash talk going on there too, I believe.
Both teams are really into the game.
Now coming into the game, speaking of, Taylor Knighton replacing Morgan, and Gray will exit. Phillip back on the floor. A bit of a bigger lineup from Ambrose, of course, matching some of the size of the Ooks, who have had that advantage so far in this tournament. It's now a 3-point game as Phillip takes over. Lombo looking for a teammate, and Amsing is covered by Clusen. And he's going to draw contact. It looks like Clusen will get the foul.
Yeah, Ambrose was fortunate there to get a whistle. They didn't really have anything working for them on this possession, but they got bailed out with the call a little bit. A correct call. It was a reach, but it was initiated because it was kind of a wasted possession. They didn't really get anywhere with it.
And we're going to take a quick timeout as well, with the teams taking a break here on ACAC TV. You're watching coverage of the 2020 Men's Basketball Conference Championship, brought to you by Cargill. Back underway in play here as Braden Daniel gets to the rim for 2 points. 37-38. The Lions trail the Ooks, who are being led by Sean Michael Clancy.
That was a great off-ball cut there by Daniel. One of the most underrated skills in basketball is to be a smart off-ball cutter. And that was an excellent cut, and led to 2 points.
Nothing but hands, and now it's going to be Lions basketball on the baseline. It's been a pretty fun tournament to watch in terms of parity, even though a couple of these games have been blowouts. Basically, when you look at the final score, each of the games today have been blowouts, and yesterday the first two ultimately finished as blowouts. But you can see how every team came into the tournament feeling like they had a chance to come out of that first day.
I totally agree. One of the best things, having coached in this tournament here in Alberta, a few times, it's one of the best things about it is that 1 through 8, everybody has a real sense of opportunity. There's a real sense of the possible when teams come in here, and so if people are ready to lay it on the line and just go out and play, it makes for some really exciting basketball and a great tournament, and lots of upsets and really interesting outcomes as well. Obviously, yesterday with Lethbridge losing and a couple other upsets, you never know what happens when the ball gets tipped. So it makes the game so fun.
That last basket coming courtesy of CK Phillip. It's a 1-point game. Broderick off the mark. And Hines will hand it off for Clancy. Clusen the three, just off the mark there. Rebounded. Braden Daniel looking for an over-the-back call. And Clancy telling everyone to clear out. He wants to go to work. He's going to pull up. That's off the mark. Broderick quick to the rebound.
A lot of offensive rebounds here being given up by Ambrose.
Hines trying to drive and can't. Rejected. Great footwork from Francisco there. Offensive foul on Sean Michael Clancy.
I think the defender had his feet set, but to me it looked as if he was leaning a little bit with his shoulder towards the offensive player. These block charge calls are really difficult. They're really hard calls to make.
1 point game, just over 2 to go in the half. Francisco, he's had a nice impact off the bench for the Lions. Gray trying to find a teammate there, and Cordwell now guarded by Clancy. Driving, Amsing a jumper in the corner. That's way off. And Gray draws the foul off of Darryl Broderick.
The team seemed to have settled into a slower pace at the moment. Ambrose aren't working the ball as much with multiple player actions. There's a whole lot of catching, looking to go.
Nat Francisco for 3.
They might want to might have to start involving more NAIT defenders in actions here to try and create more movement and rhythm for themselves.
Marcus Taylor Knight finding Clusum. Hines for Broderick.
Nate Ball.
And that's going to be on the baseline. Looks like Lombo is getting ready to come back into the game for the Lions. Big possession here, 1:23 remaining. And the Ooks would like to certainly get things tied up as they only have a couple other chances to score for the rest of the half. A lot on the line for both teams. A chance to go to the final, win a medal, and maybe even go to a national tournament. And they're going to call an offensive foul. It looks like that's on Taylor Knight.
Yeah, and that was the right call. He had his arm really out. That elbow hooked the defender really clearly. That was the right call right there.
And Zach Morgan's coming into the game, it looks like, right away here. 2 fouls on Taylor Knight, so that's something they'll have to watch, obviously. And a turnover for Francisco. Exactly a minute remains here in the first half. It's a one-possession game, 42-40 in favor of the Ambrose Lions, who came in as an underdog into the tournament, but they're the higher seed here against the 4th-seeded Ooks from the North Division.
Knighton stayed on the court here under a minute. Gonna have to watch that third foul.
And Hines is unable to get it to go. Chance now for the Lions to work in transition here. Daniel trying to find Cordwell, and that's deflected by Clancy. And now Morgan will take off Knight. So he'll get a brief rest before the half. Clancy on Daniel, who's trying to back him down. Spinning, doesn't draw the contact he's looking for. And now we'll see if NAIT will just go for the quick score. They do and miss, but a rebound. Great work by Morgan.
Yeah, they're going to reset the shot clock to the appropriate number. And good catch by the official.
Timeout called Ooks. And we'll be back with just a few seconds to wrap up the first half of the second semifinal, the 2018 Men's Basketball Conference Championship, brought to you by Cargill. Time for one more shot here coming from the NAIT Ooks. Maybe a few seconds left for the Lions to use afterwards. And of course, Clancy is being ganged up on by the Lions. Oh, and it slips out of his hands. Amsing for the two-handed dunk. And at the buzzer, the Lions have a two-possession lead. Clancy giving it to Clusum. Some real disconnect between the two players, almost coming to blows. So not what you want to see from your two star players at the end of a half.
There's a lot of emotion right now.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of emotion. I think Clancy was upset with how after the ball slipped out of his hands, Clayson, didn't recover back to try and contest the shot at the basket, and Clayson was making point about transition basketball and whatnot. So, you know what? At the end of the day, right now, what you've got is a team that they've played together the entire season, and these guys know each other.
ACAC President and State Associate Director, Bob Murray. We're going to chat a little bit about the tournament, a little bit about where we think basketball is going kind of in general, but started off with a great couple of days so far, some big upsets. I know as the Associate Director of State, you have to be happy with their performance so far this week, but what's your overall impression of this tournament here at Augustana?
Well, I think first and foremost, the hosts have done a great job. As we were referencing earlier, the amount of volunteers that have come from the community to help Augustana campus be able to host this has been amazing. And that's what you love as the ACAC, is to see these campuses get community involved and get them out. I know the same thing's going on down at Medicine Hat right now. There's a lot of community involvement at the Women's Championship, and so that makes you excited as the ACAC that it's a great performance being put on by the host. But then on the other side, you've got just amazing games so far, right? And like you said, the upsets that have happened, and then just the excitement of especially of these semifinals here. This game that's going on right now is just another barn burner, so it's pretty awesome.
The intensity I found in every single game that I've attended or worked so far since I've been in Camrose, the intensity has just been through the roof. It feels like it could have been a little bit of a toss-up, like the two highest ranked, highest seeded teams aren't going to be playing in the final tomorrow.
That's right.
And so it feels like it's been so competitive, and I know that talking to some of the teams who are ranked a little bit lower came into this tournament not having an underdog mentality at all, and it definitely shows. But what do you think of the competition level? Like, has the ACAC been growing as much as basketball has been kind of in the general sense in Canada? I know, like, with the Raptors and our women's national team and our representation in the NBA right now is just at an all-time high, and I know eventually that's going to trickle down into every single level, but do you feel that in the ACAC already?
Yeah, I think definitely, you're starting to see some of the Alberta talent really show up. I mean, Lethbridge, a lot of Albertans on that team. I mean, the ACAC and the CCA as a whole has a lot of internationals involved in it, and that seems to have kind of taken over the game for the last little while. But over these last couple of years, you've started to see the Alberta talent start to rise themselves up again, and then that's made all the recruiting quite difficult, and then you're starting to see a little bit more parity amongst the teams. I mean, the 8 teams that are here, NAIT from the north comes in as a 4 seed. They're not a 4 seed. Like they're a strong team. Clancy's unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
And so you've got a 4 seed that just came out and said we're going to play and we're going to ball against Lethbridge, who's just been top ranked pretty much the whole year. A fantastic team, and you just had an amazing basketball game last night. That, for one team, they were really happy. With the other team, they were greatly disappointed, right? But that's the nature of the game. And then even in the consolation semi today of Lethbridge and Augustana, talk about a game. Holy smokes. Like, that was just, there was so much intensity, like you said, in the gymnasium between the two teams. Officiating did a great job. Like, there was a little altercation that happened. I thought they did a great job. I mentioned it to the officials, the signers that are here, that I thought they handled it really well. And so you get into a game like this and this one, and, the officials, I feel like, are making calls when they need to make them. They're allowing the team, the athletes to play, and that's what you want. And so to answer your question about the growth of the game, Alberta's kind of been there. We've, at the national level, we've always kind of been up there and competing. Our women have been very strong. Olds has been strong these last couple of years. Just lost to Lakeland. I don't know if you've heard that.
We had it muted on our laptops here while we were calling the last game. Yeah,
Lakeland and Coach King just came out there and beat them. I mean, that Lakeland team's a special team. I think they're going to do something at the national tournament. But yeah, I think it's just continued to grow, and we're getting more and more challenging. And I think what's awesome about this ACAC championship is whoever comes out of it now is going to be battle tested, and that's what you need when you go to the national level, right?
Absolutely. The game, I feel like there's such the level of athlete in this tournament this weekend has really surprised me.
Yeah.
I came in here and I haven't watched an ACAC men's championship. I don't think I watched last year's, but I did the year before. But it shocked me a little bit watching some of these guys play, and just the tenacity that they came out here every single time that they hit the floor. And the ACAC is going to be very well represented, whoever comes out of here. And that Lethbridge team, talking about them being the highest ranked team, they also don't graduate anyone.
Yes.
So they're going into next year with not only the same roster, same personnel, but now they've got some experience and they've had a little bit of heartbreak.
A little bit of chip.
That
a little
makes
chip.
Them
Yeah, you
quite
bet.
dangerous. So the ACAC, like the future of it, also looking very strong. One thing I know this year that U Sports is doing that I think is just a fantastic strategy, if able to do it, is having the men's and women's tournament together, just as a way to showcase the women a little bit more, because men's games do have higher attendance, and if you have them connected, it just allows people to be exposed to a game that maybe they would never have seen otherwise. Do you see that as an option for the ACAC in the future, of hosting those together, and possibly the CCA?
Yeah, I think part of it for the ACAC, especially in the court sports of basketball and volleyball, it's tough to be able to host a double like that in most of the communities that we are in.
Gym size. I know a lot of the universities have multiple courts or facilities that they can utilize, whereas Camrose, like, this is kind of it.
Yeah, and so we have seen it in soccer. So the last 2 years it's been in soccer, and next year it will be a double hosting in soccer as well. They're able to. They've got the daylight and then the night to have the lights, and it's great. It is exactly what you've said, right? Like, it's you always have people in attendance because the other team's cheering on their counterparts. But for basketball, I know there's been a couple schools that have been looking at it as a possibility. City center schools that probably would have access to other gymnasiums that could make it happen, or maybe a field house. So I think it could be there. I think it would be really exciting for the game. I would love to see it nationally. I think it would be amazing to see it nationally. We have a hosting grid, though, that they would have to go against and change. And then same thing with the ACAC. We have a bid process that someone would have to put a bid forward and say we'd like to double host. And I think our council would be interested in it if someone was able to demonstrate that they could do it, and would be willing to give it a try for sure. So hopefully we'll see it.
Yeah, it's an exciting time for basketball in Canada on every single level. It's going to be a great summer. I know with our women's national team already qualified for the Olympics. Our men's national team has the qualifying tournament in Victoria this spring. And if all of the players that say that they're going to show up, I mean, that's not just a good national team, that's a good NBA team. And that would just be amazing for Canadian basketball across the board. Before I let you go, though, what's your prediction with this Ambrose, NAIT, or do you have a preferred prediction, as coming from SAIT, and try not to make you sound too biased?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, we've played Ambrose lots, right? So I kind of know them better than I know NAIT, of course. But I think it really there's a couple players. What's Mar from NAIT? Like, we haven't seen much in that first half from him yet, right? Last night he went off. I think he's got the opportunity to be able to go off in the second half. If he does and he joins Clancy, then NAIT could get this thing going and maybe run away with it. But on the other side, you've got players, some role players like Matt Francisco, number 8, fifth-year player.
He played incredible last night. He was a huge part of their win.
An amazing part of the win. Came in at the end, really kind of was calm and cool and collective. He's already got 7 points in this game and kind of set the standard. And then the other thing that hasn't been seen, Lyndon Jackson hasn't got a point for Ambrose yet.
Yeah,
and I mean,
that
guy,
scary.
he could go off for 18 or 20 in the second half. So I expect this thing to be a barn burner right down to the end, and I think obviously the last shot's going to win it.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I hope it's a barn burner, because those are the most exciting ones, and I love watching the most competitive basketball, and everyone here seems to be so emotionally invested in these games too, and I love it. So I'm really hoping that this game comes down to the wire, and I appreciate you sitting down with me and having a chat. So
no problem.
Enjoy the rest
Thank
of
you
the
for
game.
the opportunity.
Not a problem.
We're about to get underway here in the third quarter. Thanks again to President Bob Murray for stopping in for a quick chat with Kira Lions. It's a two-possession game. The Ooks really limited to two guys scoring most of their points. A little bit more balance on the offensive side of things with the Lions, although Isaac Amsing has a game-high 13 for them. And they are on offense to start things off. Cordwell going right to the rim, and that's now rebounded by Clusen, native of France. He has 10 points after the first half. Had a confrontation with Sean Michael Clancy going into the locker room, but they're both out there, seem to have squashed their beef as Clancy hits the jumper for 2 points.
Peace has been restored, it seems, on the Ooks sideline.
And that's a turnover for Gray. Clancy coming with Clancy is stripped there, but it's going to be Ooks ball. And 9:16 to go in the third quarter.
Ambrose in the first half guarded the baseline out of bounds in a 2-3 zone, and now they've gone into a man-to-man against the baseline out of bounds. Again, another example of their switching their coverages. Wide open shot.
And here comes Braden Daniel for Phillip. He'll lay it in for 2 points. Now ahead for Marcus Taylor Knighton. He goes off glass for 2, and it's a one-possession game again.
If Broderick can start hitting, his shots are open, and he's a good shooter. They're just not dropping tonight, but if Nate can get him going, get him into rhythm from 3, that's going to be a big difference maker for them here in the second half.
Clancy the rebound, and back in transition come the Ooks. And finger rolls good for 2. We're tied at 46.
Not much you can do against that defensively.
So much speed and some nice touch as well from number 23.
And power.
Gray trying to back down the taller Clusen. And Gray obviously looking for some space. Clusen helping him along with that action, and that results in Gray taking a seat.
Emotions are running high right now for Gray. Probably making a good decision to exit the gym, take a little bit of a breather.
And that's going to be an offensive foul.
Yep, that's a good call.
Clusen. So Clusen draws an offensive foul and then takes one the next one. And Clancy just having a quick chat with him.
There's a nice battle going on right now with Clusen and Cordwell. They're similarly shaped, similar games. Obviously, Clusen's a little bit bigger, and Ambrose, I think Clusen is noticing that Ambrose seems to be trying to get him on an island defensively, which might be an indication of they think of him being as a weak link, and so it's an interesting battle here between the two of them.
That was Daniel with a nice take on the last basket, and now Clancy rather.
That is a tough shot.
Cordwell with the ball. Man, if Clancy can hit those. Lombo off the mark. That's rebounded by Marcus Taylor Knighton. He's been a little quiet offensively today. Clearly the Lions game plan for him after watching the Ooks victory last night against Lethbridge. A steal, a nice effort from Clusen, and that delays things, but now Cordwell with the ball. Fadeaways, good for 2, and they've hit the half-century mark.
Yeah, fast-paced start here. We're already over 3 minutes into the second half here in the third quarter, and teams are playing pretty loose to start the half. That's one of the only times that they've looked to go into a high-low action with Knighton rolling to the rim, just using his size. He's a load and a half down there. If that's something that they want to emphasize for Nate offensively, they'll really put the pressure on Ambrose's defense, draw fouls, get them into foul trouble.
Ball's up for Taylor Knighton, and he'll drop it, plus the foul. And that's on Lyndon Jackson. He's back into the game for the Lions. He's played limited minutes so far today, after being such a big part of their offense last night. Yeah, only 4 minutes in the first half. And Taylor Knighton misses the free throw. Last touch off the Lions, and now another chance for the Ooks to go on offense. Gerald Broderick in possession of the ball. And he got off for Clancy. He has been all over the place for the Ooks on both ends of the floor, and he draws another foul. Looks like Phillip is going to come out, and Amsing is coming back in. Got to say, he has been probably the highlight of the night for the Lions. 15 points, lots of energy.
Great first half, 8 rebounds. On his way to a double-double.
Clancy finding an open Taylor Knighton for 2.
Simple basketball. Nate did a good job spacing the floor and making Ambrose really have to play in gaps and then picking their poison. It was a very good offensive set.
Francisco, aggressive take, doesn't land. And Taylor Knighton decides to run the floor a little. Hines will hand it back. And Hines goes to the rim. That's his first points of the night. It's now 54-50 for the Ooks.
Yeah, critical period here for Ambrose. Can they stabilize and find themselves some shots? There you go. Take it right to the basket.
Braden Daniel, 2 points. He hasn't taken any jumpers, but has gotten to the rim a few times. Clancy, deep 3, in and out. And we'll see if Jackson can go to work. Now handing off for Francisco. Cordwell gets Clancy jumping. He'll go to the rim. Short, grabs his own rebound. And Nystrom not happy with no foul call there, and it looks like that's going to be on Cordwell.
They're going to talk about whether that's going to be an intentional.
So that'll send Clancy to the free throw line. That's a tough 10 seconds for the Lions.
Committing the foul while lying on the ground as a player is running by you, that'll be called an unsporting.
Five minutes remaining here in the third quarter. And now the Ooks will inbound. A chance now to make it a 6-point game. Clancy one-handed and it's short, but a great rebound from Klusen. Can't get it to go. Now come the Lions. Daniel dropping it. Amsing for 3. That's good. What a night for Isaac Amsing.
I love Ambrose's resilience. Just when you think Nate is a possession or two away from building the lead up to 8 points, kind of getting a little bit of breathing room, Ambrose just gets a stop, forces a steal, gets a rebound, makes a shot. They're really showing a lot of character right now for a team that really, a program that really doesn't have a whole lot of ACAC championship experience.
Klusen, that big 3 right back at you. It's 59-55. Daniel.
That's too much dribbling.
We'll hand it off. Francisco knocks down a triple of
big
his
shot.
own, and it's a 1-point game with less than 4 to go. Broderick will hand it off. Clancy continued to take over the ball-carrying duties.
It looked like Daniel tweaked a knee a little bit as he was going. I'm going to keep an eye out for a limp.
Yeah, he's walking very slowly there as Jackson. He gets the foul call on Clancy.
Yeah, it looks like he did something. He's calling for a substitution at the moment.
Sorry, you go ahead.
I was just going to say he pulled up a little bit lame on his penetration to his left hand coming into the middle, and you could just tell he jerked a little bit.
Broderick also exiting for Sheldon Hausch, and in for Daniel is C.K. Phillip. After the free throws, it's now a 60-59 game.
Ambrose with the half-court pressure.
And it doesn't do anything to Sheldon Hausch, who knocks down that three and lets Amsing know about it.
Well attacked by Nate. Get the ball right to the corner to a shooter.
Jackson pulls up for three. That's short. No one there to grab the rebound. Nate in transition. Hines, lefty, off glass for two, and it's 64-60 for the Ooks. Nice find inside for Cordwell, and he'll lay it in.
If he gets outside the defender's hip as that defender is backpedaling, it's good night and game over. He is so strong, and his explosiveness once he gets a step on you makes him incredibly difficult to stop. He leverages that skill really, really well.
Phillip now in a little foul trouble. He'll take a seat. Clancy at the line. And Daniel's coming back in, it looks like. So that tweak obviously wasn't much. Clancy puts the Ooks up by 4, and it looks like Cordwell is going to take a short break. I'll move Amsing to the 5.
These are big minutes right now without CK on the court, and having to sit probably for at least a little bit of a period of time here with 4 fouls. Big moments for Ambrose.
Tough shot, and that's short from Jackson. And they're trying to put some pressure on Clancy. The no-look pass. Clusen wide open for 3. Bottom of the net for the big man from France, and it's now a 7-point game with just over 2 to go in the third quarter. Gray off glass, 2 points. Nice take for number 10. Much needed basket to stop the streak of points coming from the Ooks. Ambrose looking for a stop here, and Clusen loses it to Daniel. Jackson can't get it to go off glass, and Amsing saves it. Francisco holding the ball with Clusen on him. Oh, nice feed for Amsing underneath the rim, and he scores.
Great action there. That's fundamental basketball. That's as the player down on the block, knowing where to go when the ball is moving in a particular direction. That's good coaching, good execution.
Taylor Knighton lays it in for 2, back to a 5-point game in favor of the Ooks as we enter the last minute in play of the third quarter. And Francisco, different guy on him now. Gray, he's going to drive, pull up with a one-hander, drops it for 2 points.
Again, Ambrose showing their grit. Coming back, getting pushed down, but they keep coming back. It's very impressive for a young program.
Cordwell and Lombo are back on the floor. Daniel and Francisco will sit, and it looks like Nystrom's trying to get a little bit more quick feet and size to maybe slow down Sean Michael Clancy from his drives to the rim. There's 39 seconds remaining, and it's a 2-possession game. as Clancy knocks down both free throws. What a night for number 23. Chance now for the Lions to put some points on the board, though. Open look for Lombo. That's good from downtown. Sylvan Lombo, a big-time triple. 2-point lead for the Ooks as Clancy turns the ball over. Huge steal for Gray. Draws contact on Jamal Hines and a chance to tie the game. Clancy, I don't believe he's taken a seat the whole game. Unbelievable, the endurance on this guy. Third season, native of Las Vegas, Nevada.
At this time of the year, you can be tired in April. Especially when you have a heart the size that this man has. You can just tell he's going to do whatever he can and whatever it takes to get his team to tomorrow's gold medal game against SAIT.
And just as we're talking, he is going to take a break, so he'll get 16 seconds of rest. Also out of the game, Jamal Hines for a few seconds. Sheldon Hausch, Daryl Broderick, Vishal Dillon in the game, so he's looking for an open three.
They're back to the zone.
And Cluson trying to find Dillon, but Cordwell gets a hand on that. Dillon hasn't played very many minutes today, but did make an impact in the first half of yesterday's game with a three. Inside, Taylor Knighton, blocked by Amsing. What an impact he's had. And at the half, we're tied at 73.
A great quarter, really good quarter of basketball. Both teams digging in, finding ways to make plays, finding ways to set up good shots for their teammates. It's really nice to see a game where, neither team, you can't say that either team is really kicking on all cylinders, but they're finding ways to make plays, and they're just finding ways to keep themselves moving in the right direction.
Now, exciting news coming out of Prairie College for you. As you were saying, you've applied for the basketball team to join the ACAC amongst other teams. Yeah,
some really exciting times at Prairie. We, as you know, I'm the athletic director there at the moment, and last year the college rejoined the ACAC after about a 15-year hiatus away from the conference, and being back in as associate members and competing in the sports of cross-country running and indoor track and futsal. And now currently we have applications before the conference for men's and women's basketball, and we're very excited about that, and very excited about continuing to grow the athletic program at the college, and being a full member of such a great conference like the ACAC, and competing against the likes of these teams that we see here out on the court. So some really exciting times.
And so it's how long does that application process take before you are given? Because you also obviously have a probationary status initially, if it's granted.
Yes, so we applied last November. There was a site visit committee that came to our campus in February and went through a day of meetings and just spending time asking questions and learning about what it is that we're doing at Prairie. And now the next step is a report coming back from that committee, and we move on to the annual meeting in May, where there'll be more deliberations and a vote, and we're hopeful it'll be positive and successful, and that basketball will, in 2020-21, enter into a transitional exhibition season before beginning to compete in 21-22.
And back to the action here at the Augustana Gymnasium. This is the final semi-final game of the 2020 ACAC Men's Basketball Conference Championship, as the Ooks go on attack here, with Cluson giving it up now in the hands of Broderick. Hines, great movement here from the Lions to take space away. Sean Michael Clancy still on the bench. Turnaround from Knighton off the mark. And the Lions fans making some noise as their team gets the defensive stop. Braden Daniel Hands it off. That's going to be a turnover. Going the other way now. Hines slowing things down. Obviously, the Ooks just looking to get some stabilization while Clancy sits for a little while.
I'm going to say as the ball gets thrown away here on an errant pass, but I'm going to say that Broderick here is going to be a really key piece of the puzzle for NAIT in the fourth quarter down the stretch. If he can find a rhythm and if he can knock down some open shots, he can be that second scorer that NAIT's been looking for.
Inside look, Daniel finds Isaac, and he gets the foul as well. What a game for number 14, Isaac Amsing.
Incredible effort for this young man tonight.
Yeah, just off the bench, he has come in with 18 points, now make that 20, a chance for 21. 9 of 11 from the field. And in addition to that, 10 rebounds and 2 shot blocks. No turnovers, no fouls. About as good as a bench performance as you're going to see at this level. Unbelievable, really good. And his poise, when he came in partway through that first quarter, the hustle plays and the poise that he brought really seemed to stabilize Ambrose, and they've been feeding off of that since then. And NAIT seems to be the team with a bit more scramble. Ambrose ball. And their fans going crazy as the energy picks up here in the Augustana Gymnasium.
Nice to see members of the Ambrose athletic department sitting amongst the fans across the gym, cheering.
Cordwell pulls up and misses. And Gray will slow things down. Taken by Klusen. Nice defensive effort from Klusen, soaking that ball up. 8 minutes remaining in the ball game. It's a one-possession contest. Lions in front. Klusen wants to take that. He's going to fade. That's off the mark. Last touch, Lions. We'll see. We talked a little bit at the beginning about the depth. We'll see if that starts to affect NAIT, as they haven't been able to rest their starters very much. Ambrose certainly going a little deeper into their bench.
Yep, some fresh legs down the stretch. Big shot right here.
And quick pass from Broderick, but Klusen follows up his own rebound. And he draws the foul on Amsing.
They're excited. You know, it's fun to see. College basketball is such a special thing. You know, I mean, here comes the guy running off the NAIT bench to go pick up his teammate on the baseline, and you know, good on the official for not, you know, chastising that player. You know, realizing that obviously he's there to pick up his teammate, and there's something special about college basketball. It's a lot of fun, and it makes for a great experience for these young people. Although, and it was a great experience for me, but I don't know about you, but this is not the way that I played basketball when I was playing college basketball.
As someone who only ever played basketball with some transplants from South Africa and Montana late at night on the street courts, I can't say I had this experience. Though on the volleyball court, it was something similar. Those were some fun basketball games with folks in South Africa, though.
I bet it was.
A big-time shot from the outside, and now it's a 79-75 game. 7 minutes to go here between the Lions and the Ooks. And we got another turnover from the Ooks. Jackson hounded by Clancy. And boy, did Daniel come close to going over and back there. Jackson finding Amsing inside for 2.
Yep, good timeout here by NAIT.
Timeout called, yes.
6-point game, and they are discombobulated, as you would say right now, NAIT. They're really not able to find a rhythm. They're struggling to find good shots on offense. They're breaking down defensively. You know, there's it's now or never. I mean, you're coming down the stretch, and Ambrose has built themselves a little bit of breathing room. So what the next few minutes will be for NAIT in terms of a response on both ends is it's going to go a long way to telling us what the end of this game, what the final minutes of this game might look like.
We'll be back shortly on ACAC TV. This is the last game on Friday here at the 2020 ACAC Men's Basketball Conference Championship, brought to you by Cargill. Faithful in full effect here at the Augustana Gymnasium. Clancy, tough jumper, and that's what you're going to need from the Ooks. Top scorer, number 23, Sean Michael Clancy. Just under 7 minutes to go. It's a two-possession game. Open look, Isaac Gray off the mark and rebounded by Hugo Klusen. He's been big today for the Ooks.
I don't think there was any doubt as to who was going to get the ball there for NAIT on that possession coming out of the timeout.
And Taylor Knighton, you haven't seen much of him offensively. That was a big score right there. Really
good two possessions. Back to a single possession game.
Lombo, corner three, and the foul. What a momentum shifter this could be. 5-point game, chance to make the lead 6. Neil Nystrom trying to calm down his bench a little bit, I think, as they were ready to run out on the court after that basket.
You know, I will say that I think sometimes the NCAA benches can get a little bit too overboard with the wheelbarrows and all the different, theatrics that they pull out on the sideline. But I will say that I prefer more energy than, what we tend to do in FIBA, which is try to dampen down everything. Yeah. This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be fun. We have a great game. Two teams are battling. This crew of officials have done a pretty good job of maintaining the focus on the game, and I'm glad that the student athletes here that work so hard on the court and in the classroom are getting to enjoy this period of time right now.
CK Phillip at the line. Interesting release.
Very interesting.
It's a 3-point game favoring the Lions with 5:49 remaining in the quarter. And Klusen will catch the rebound. So tough trip to the line there for the Lions. It's still a one-possession game. And Daniel disagrees with the call, but that's going to send Clancy back to the line. Riley Cordwell coming into the game for the Lions.
That was the 4th foul on Daniel.
Neil Nystrom trying to talk to Daniel as he shows some frustration there on the bench, saying that we need you still. We're going to need you with just 5 minutes remaining. Biggest game in the history of the program right now for the Ambrose Lions. And CK Phillip will drive. Last touch Clancy. That's going to be Ambrose ball on the sideline. Unreal effort here from both teams as Cordwell sends Hugo Klusen to the floor and scores. And Clancy pulls up, and he's going to draw the foul on CK Phillip.
Ambrose seemed to be a little bit confused as to what their coverage was on that side ball screen. CK came out. That's a really tough way to foul out of a game. He was late on the show and late on the, I mean, yeah, it's just unfortunate that they seemed a little bit not on the same page there. Tough way to go out.
Amsing back into the game. He has made a huge impact for the Lions. We'll see if he continues to do that. It's 86-83 to make that 84 now. Still lots of time. I mean, we've seen so many lead changes in this game. There's lots of time for either team to go on a run.
That's the third time tonight that three-point shooter has been fouled in the act.
Yeah.
Currently, NAIT is winning that particular battle 2-1.
And if you count earlier games today, I believe that's the 11th time that we've had a three-point shooter fouled. Happened multiple times in the Augustana Lethbridge game and in the St. Trojans game. Lyndon Jackson plus the foul. And the blocking foul is on Clancy. And that's his...
fourth.
Oh, that is his fourth? My goodness. Oh, thank you for pointing that out. That is a real tough break for the Ooks, because he really can't get one-on-one too close with any more Ambrose offensive players.
It's going to change the game a little bit here.
Clancy, and he draws the foul. I think that was on Gray.
Well, we should settle in, maybe order in some takeout, because I think it's going to be a free throw marathon here. Down the stretch, a whole lot of whistles.
And speaking of Gray, that's his fourth, so it looks like he's going to come out of the game. Daniel's going to go in for him. We've already had one Lion foul out. And yes, Gray is taking a seat. And Taylor Knighton's got to be close in fouls as well here, so. Lyndon Jackson pulling back out as the larger Klusen is on him, trying to switch. He'll take advantage of the open space, but misses the three-point attempt. And now a chance for the Ooks to regain the lead. Pull up, knocked down by Sean Michael Clancy. 91-89, Ooks in front with 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Cordwell off glass for two, and we're tied once again.
Back and forth it goes. Big plays, Clancy asserting himself offensively. He's got to watch that step in, yeah. Very good read.
And Clancy just off with the one-hander. Jackson is going to drive. Blocking foul on Klusen. And he'll go to the line plus the basket. Klusen just inside the key there.
He was inside the charge circle, but he was sideways. And I just want to make a comment quickly on Jackson down here. Like, when Clancy was going to the basket hard, Jackson stepped into that gap, and he made him stop, knowing he had 4 fouls. He made himself stop Clancy, missed a little floater, led the other way. That's just good basketball. Really good defensive basketball.
Klusen.
Big shot here.
Hausch on the outside. That's short. Hines can't grab the rebound. It's a 3-point game. And you can feel the tension. You can feel the tension in this building starting to rise here. Taylor Knighton, great play on defense to get the steal, and now Clancy in motion. Jackson's going to get the steal right back. What a play from number 5 as he's come alive here in the fourth quarter.
NAIT still has not found that second scorer from the perimeter. Broderick hasn't been able to hit shots. Here it comes.
Jackson from the corner, and it's good for 2. Big time bucket from number 5, the Gary, Indiana native.
Here comes a horns play, too high screen.
Cluson inside, Taylor Knighton drops it in.
That's that same play they went to earlier with the horns action up high with the dive down. Knighton's won't be able to stop Knighton down there.
And now Cordwell will pull up for 3. That's off, rebounded. Chance to tie or cut the lead to 1. Clancy trying to clear people out. He's going to pull up for a tough 2. That's off the mark, and Hines can't corral the rebound.
I think they could have found themselves a better shot on that possession.
There are 2 minutes remaining here in the ball game. Last action on our Friday evening coverage at the 2020 championship. Shot clock down to 5. Jackson, he's going to pull up for 3. That's well short. And now Hines.
We're not sure Nate has a plan right here.
Pull up from Cluson, short, no one to rebound. 1:30 to go. What a possession this will be. Chance for Ambrose to extend the lead. Nate could really use a stop. Jackson.
Switch on the high ball.
Wow, I thought for sure there'd be a foul. No call on the Ooks.
Looked like there was a reach in. I was blocked. I don't know if he got arm or ball, but it certainly looked like there was contact.
And now a timeout taken by the Ooks. 9 seconds to work with on the clock. We'll be right back on ACAC TV. You're watching the semifinal between the Ooks and the Lions at the 2020 Men's Basketball Conference Championship. We have 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining here between the Lions and the Ooks. It's coming down, it could come down, it feels like, to the final shot.
Big time possession here. How are they going to guard these 8 seconds?
Lyndon Jackson off glass for 2. Huge basket. And they're signaling horns again that you mentioned on the last possession. Knighton outside for Hines. Cluson, open look for Broderick, way off the mark. And that's going to be a turnover. Tough night shooting for Daryl Broderick. And it's an absolutely critical defensive possession now for the NAIT Ooks. You have Clancy working with 4 fouls. Knighton in a little foul trouble as well, so they can't get too close on their defender. And you have Lyndon Jackson starting to heat up. He'll hand it off for Gray. Gray guarded by Clancy as Cordwell comes in. The switch happens. And he draws the contact on Jamal Hines.
Ambrose has done a very good job here in the second half of having a clear picture of how it is that they want to attack and then going about hunting for the type of shot that they want. And on the flip side, it seems like NAIT has been searching a little bit for what it is that they're trying to do. And the last few possessions, three consecutive possessions here, have not been good offensively for NAIT.
Gray knocks down both. It's a 7-point game. You got to think Clancy is going to try to pull up. And he'll go in for a quick 2. And they're trying to do some trapping here. And you almost think they have to start fouling. There's not much time left on the clock. And whoa, Clancy, he gets the steal. 5 seconds, and the basket! Unbelievable 10 seconds of play from Clancy. 16 seconds still on the clock. He gets the basket to go, plus the free throw here, which would make it a 2-point game. And it's going to be a timeout for the Lions. Oh, never mind. They aren't allowed the timeout just yet. And Braden Daniel, as a result of that, he is fouled out. So he's out of the game. Lombo in. And Clancy at the line. Chance to make it a 2-point game. Still only 16 seconds left. And now a timeout taken.
Ball's going to get advanced.
What a turn of events. And we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere if you're watching on the stream. This is the 2020 Men's Basketball Conference Championship brought to you by Cargill. And it's going to come down to the final few seconds. Ambrose chooses not to advance the ball. They're going to go from the baseline. We'll see if the NAIT Ooks go for a steal or foul right away.
It's not a bad decision here on the part of Ambrose because they get the chance to run the baseline and they have the ability to play with depth in the full court, which as you saw, they were able to advance the ball as a result of that. Stationary inbounds on the sideline, yes, but you also have a sixth defender in the sense of the half-court line, and so it creates some additional pressure. So interesting decision here by the Ambrose coaching staff, and it certainly seems to have worked in their favor for the moment.
And the Ooks, obviously, they had Hausch and Morgan into the game for Clancy and Hines, who are working on 4 fouls. Those two are now back on the floor. So a big free throw there. If Jackson misses this free throw, what a rebound it needs to be. Nope.
2-possession game.
Still a 2-possession game. So now you have basically 10 seconds to work with. You're going to need a quick. Can you risk a quick 2, or does it have to be a 3?
You know, it really comes back to, like, if you're going to play for a quick 2 with 10 seconds left, it's going to come back to how confident do you think you are in your ability to generate a turnover or to foul immediately.
Right.
10's a little short in order to play that type of game, but it's not too short. It is possible. Coaches will have their philosophies as to what to do. I guarantee it that the coaching staffs on both sides, they've gamed this out. They've been through these scenarios way back in training camp, and their teams should have an expectation of what it is that they'll be running. You know, when NAIT comes out, I'm sure Coach Slav isn't drawing something up completely new in the huddle. This is something that they've prepped for, and same thing on the part of Ambrose. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ambrose go into a zone here because NAIT is most likely anticipating a man, and so if they show zone, that might disrupt their rhythm a little bit, some of the screening actions that they might be looking to run. But again, it's a chess match. You never really know what they're going to do. Looks like they're showing man right now. They got a big guy on the inbounds. Yep.
And of course, Sean Michael Clancy with the ball.
Going for the shot.
Pulls up way short, and Jackson is fouled.
With that much time on the clock, I think that they probably could have benefited from trying to generate a better shot, a different type of shot there. That's a tough one here down the stretch. Clancy in that position, that's a tough shot.
And Lyndon Jackson knocks in the free throw. What an effort from this Lions team. The lower seeded squad, they defeat the host Vikings, who were definitely favored in that matchup.
What a win for Ambrose. What a win for Ambrose. Very happy for them. Congratulations to that program. I can guarantee that they didn't come here to win the semifinal. And they can go out tomorrow and play SAIT with the knowledge that they've already beaten SAIT this season. So I can expect a really good game tomorrow. I think they're going to roll out there with a lot of confidence and a lot of aggression. Should be a great game.
And you got to think player of the game is going to be Isaac Amsing. I mean, Lyndon Jackson was unbelievable in the fourth quarter, scoring, I believe at least 10 of his 18 points in that fourth. But Isaac Amsing off the bench, 10 of 12 from the field, 23 points, 12 rebounds. And an easy pick there, Sean Michael Clancy gets
45 points. 45 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists.
Yeah, unbelievable game from 23.
Yeah, good decision here on the part of the selectors. A great performance for that young man. It was really, really fun to watch him change the game. And just goes to show you how basketball is a game that's played with lots of different styles and lots of different skill sets. And you have a real contrast here in the two players that are being recognized, and each of them brings so much to their team. So really a nice game, fun game. Thank you for being here next to me during that game. It was fun for me.
Oh, thank you, sir. It was a lot of fun as well. The game of the tournament thus far, and we've still got one more ahead. So tomorrow, 5th place game, that will be the Red Deer College Kings, and they'll be taking on the Lethbridge Kodiaks. That's a big matchup, obviously, with the number 2 team in the country knocked out early. That starts at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Then the bronze medal game, that's at 3 between now the NAIT Ooks losing that semifinal game. They'll be taking on the Huskies. And then the gold medal game at 6 o'clock on ACAC TV. The upstart Ambrose Lions taking on the defending champion SAIT Trojans. You don't want to miss that one. For David and myself, and Kira Lyons as well, this has been a pleasure this afternoon. And good night. Have a great rest of your Friday evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Dave told me you were here. I didn't even know you were here. So that's right. Me and Chris Augustine. So alumni of like 15 years ago. We're here.
That's awesome. I love that.
How you doing?
I'm good.
I heard you were really good on the telecast. Chris was watching it last night, I guess.
Oh.
He said you were like phenomenal. Yeah, he actually it was like really complimentary about it.
Wow. Thank you so much. Are you here tomorrow?
No.